So, art history and media education as a whole are changing, not only through the advent of new technologies like augmented reality and virtual reality, but also as a byproduct of a distributed post-COVID world that we're all kind of experiencing right now. The Virtual Piranesi, this project offers a unique use case of how virtual reality technologies accelerate unique and experiential learning. The project represents an innovative approach to historic site interpretation, as well as challenging traditional methods of art history while rendering rare and immersive works of art in an accessible virtual experience. So the Virtual Piranesi, in short, recreates and reinterprets Piranesi's original immersive 2D views through interactive virtual reality. It's a part multiplayer video game, part art history lesson, and part wearable museum. I want to take a quick moment to acknowledge the collaborators who helped make this project possible. First, here on campus, the digital collections in the university libraries, the School of Journalism and Mass Communications, and the School of Visual Art and Design, and the Center for Digital Humanities here at the University of South Carolina. And externally, the Rochester Institute of Technology's Digital Design Department, as well as Cubic, which is a company based in Atlanta, Georgia, who specializes in virtual reality architectural pre-visualization. They helped us work out a few of our very early kinks. So the Virtual Piranesi elaborates and extends elements of Piranesi's original illustrations in ways that point to both the future and the history of immersive design. Piranesi's deeply engaging views create the sensation that viewers are enveloped by large, imposing architectural spaces that are rich in visual detail and historic information. Now, capitalizing on these elements of his works, our project also benefits from the architectural plans that he and his son Francesco produced of the Pantheon, in particular, which serve as the building blocks for features of our 3D model. It was a pleasant surprise to discover this collaboration as well as determine how they work together. You can see from this video how we arranged Francesco's illustrations in Blender, which is a free and open source 3D creation program, to create a scale reference to begin building the models by taking all of the orthographical views that he created and arranging them to, it's like a pop-up book, really, but it allowed us to create this 3D reference. We also then used 3D digital scans of the current Pantheon, courtesy of the Bern Digital Pantheon project from the University of Bern University, to construct the base 3D model. They digitally scanned the entire thing, and we aligned it to make sure that it matched the orthogonal views of Francesco. Of course, instead of reproducing the monument as it stands now, or for that matter, as it actually was in Piranesi's day, our virtual Pantheon reproduces Piranesi's particular vision of this structure by hand, with his slightly exaggerated proportions and informative annotations. Just as Piranesi's version of Rome blends reality with creativity, so too does our rendition emphasize this combination. The virtual experience mimics features of Piranesi's original engravings and immerses users in both an artistically created historical space and the printed details of informative printed images. Here you can see one of the models that we handmade of one of the columns and how we matched it up and aligned it to one of Piranesi's engravings. Now, special attention is also given to the user's experience by means of spatial audio interactions with the human figures present in the engravings, such as the woman on the left-hand side. They're very tiny in the engravings themselves, so we are by hand reinterpreting them to be a little bit more, or to give them a little bit more resolution. And as an interactive interface tablet, as the image on the right, which aids in the discovery of the hidden annotations that Piranesi loved to put throughout his works. The Virtual Piranesi speaks to issues in a wide range of fields, including art history, game design, architecture, book history, and interactive design. Its significance is profoundly interdisciplinary, crossing boundaries between the arts and sciences, old and new, and historical study and creative arts. But of course, it's way more fun to actually see all this that I'm talking about. So let's dive in. If you give me a second, I'm going to enlarge this and throw on my VR headset real quick. And we can take a look at what we're talking about. Sorry, I'm just setting up the casting. It takes a moment. There we go. So what we're going to be looking at is a live view inside what I'm looking at in my headset here. I have to stand up and back up a little bit because it is much better to view at standing height. All right, so here we are. This is definitely not the Pantheon, but we realized as this is a game experience in general, we wanted to give users a chance to get used to the fact that you're in a VR world and understand the navigational elements of where you are, as well as give a little bit of background, a little bit of preamble unto who Piranesi is and what you're about to do. So you're in a big library where you can see you've got Piranesi right here. And you have some of the illustrations that he has made that you can look up and close at. These are temporary selections at the moment that we are still curating, but it allows you to move around and get used to the navigational controls. As you leave the library, you enter kind of a museum hallway where the images are planned to give a brief history of what Piranesi has been doing and the types of engravings he has. Again, these are still being curated at the moment, but what I love about these is that it allows you to look up close at these images in a way that you wouldn't be able to get this close to them unless you were at USC getting your hands dirty with Jeannie and Zoe. So let's keep going. For right now, we've got a model of the Pantheon, and I suppose this will change depending on which experience you are going at. You can see some more of his larger works. And as you eventually get through the hallway, kind of go around, you come to this outdoor space. That if you look through, you start to see part of the illustrated world that's underneath there. So let's go explore in there. As you get closer, you get to this kind of Stargate-y wormhole. And now you're in. So in this world, you'll see that you have a tablet that tells you to go forth and explore. The point of this tablet is to let you know, as a way to keep the annotations you've had and also inform extra information the annotations would give you. So if I click on this A, for example.
The Pantheon is, according to the ancient authorities, among the most splendid of buildings from antiquity, the only monument that has remained mostly intact.
So the voice of our lead developer, Patrick Nugent. It gives you audio information as well as extra visual information based on the annotations that Piranesi would have hidden throughout the illustrations that he did of the Pantheon. In here, you can see that you now have 1 of 25, so it's giving you a guide, letting you know, oh, you got 24 more to find. Let's go find them. And I know that right now, this A is very easy to see. We're going to hide them a lot more as we move along. Let's see what this one says over here.
Each of these 16 columns sustaining the Piranesi is made of only one massive piece of granite. They are 6.6 palmi wide and 63.8 palmi tall.
And this is all fairly factual information. As Zoe said, Piranesi like to include factual information as well as other information.
Memorial to Urban the 14th.
One of the things that we really wanted to capitalize on is letting you find all these annotations, but also determine what the difference is between the factual information and Piranesi's opinion, such as this one right here.
The floor of the interior, which is ancient, is composed of yellow marble, granite, and porphyry. According to the custom of the ancients, the entrance was lower to make the interior appear more majestic. There are some who idiotically believe that the columns were raised, but I contend that the ancients designed the interior to display the grandeur and magnificence of their art.
And so it becomes a playful game of finding what information you can find out about this space, and what do you want to believe based on Piranesi's narration. Another great aspect of this is that this is a multi-user experience. Obviously, this is the beta version of it. I'm the only person in it, but it is built to house anywhere from 1 to 100, depending, however large our server space is. And a group of people, a class, scholars could come into this room, into this space, and discuss things, find things together, collaborate on finding the meaning of what Piranesi is talking about in here. Another aspect that we wanted to incorporate, I'm going to get close. You can see that we're using Francesco's drawings on the floor here to determine the size. We're working on including the people. So let's turn around, hold on. And our spatial audio plan, which is in progress right now, is that you typically would not hear this nice calming music that we're hearing right now. If you were in the Pantheon and if you look at Piranesi's etchings right now, they are not calm places. They are filled with people, filled with noise, and we want to give you that noise. So each person will have a layer of audio. The closer you get to them, the more you'll be able to eavesdrop on them, whether it'll be in Latin or Italian. You will be able to wander around with the people and learn more about what their experience is, or surmise what their experience is if you speak Latin or Italian. And so that's what we've been working on. Let's see what this one says.
The second order is modern, except the cornice of marble, which is ancient.
Yeah, so I'm going to turn my sharing off for a second.